Coming up next on KSL Outdoors.
There we go.
A fun family fishing opportunity for a unique fish in the high Uinta Mountains. Plus, we'll show you efforts by the Mule Deer Foundation to bring water to wildlife.
I'm Adam Eakle, and let's go fishing.
KSL Outdoors with Adam Eakle is brought to you by your local Ford stores.
It's still warm down in the valley, and you still have time to get to the high country where it's cool and the fishing is great. Hey, I'm Adam Eakle with KSL Outdoors. We're here with the Division of Wildlife. We've got Chance, Paul, Chris. We're up in the Uintas. We've got 7 species we're going to try and catch today.
Well, you're probably pushing a little bit, Adam, but right. We might actually get about 4 of them today, but we're going to start with Arctic Grayling. So we first got grayling in 1899 in Utah, here in the Uinta Mountains. We're going to go to Marjorie Lake today. Last time we stocked that lake was 1952, and they've been sustained through natural reproduction since then. So we still actively stock several lakes, and we have several that are sustained through natural reproduction.
Yeah. Any of them closer than Marjorie here?
Oh yeah, you can actually drive up. We got them in Smith and Morehouse Reservoir now in the Upper Weber. Trial, Washington, and Hoop Lake is doing really well. And they're in China Lake as well on the North Slope.
Okay, so a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, a lot.
Marjorie Lake is accessed off the Crystal Lake Trailhead, which is found just above Trial Lake. The trail forks off to Marjorie Lake and several others about a mile in. It's about a 2.5-mile hike each way.
This is Marjorie. Yep, good sized lake. Fish are already rising, Adam.
But I think I'll just do a spinning rod and a fly in a bubble. Should work, right?
Oh yeah, it'll work great. These grayling they're really aggressive fish. They love flies, but they'll hit spinners. They'll hit little spoons. You can pretty much throw about anything you want at these.
I think I'm gonna do a winged ant. That's a classic for the Uintas, particularly this time of year.
There you go, Adam. Chance has got one.
Oh, this is a grayling. It's a good sized grayling.
These guys are fishing winged ants. Mine didn't have a wing. I don't think it matters much. There you go. Off you go, fishy.
Boy, just a beautiful fish. My first of the day, a nice, beautiful grayling. Look at dorsal fin. That is why you chase grayling. You know, you're not going to come up here and catch the biggest fish, and you got to kind of have that mindset. Not that you can't, but you need to kind of, I guess, enjoy the beauty of these fish. And they're, you know, they're unique to Utah. They're not native to Utah, and boy, they like to take the fly. That was I think my second cast, and I'd had 2 or 3 hits before that.
Yeah, this is a little male as well. It's got the really colored up fin. That sounds like what you had, Adam. It's probably a 10, 11 inch fish. This is pretty typical for Marjorie Lake. They naturally recruit here, so we have fish anywhere from a few inches up to, I've seen them up to about 13 inches in here. So we've stocked this lake, but we haven't since 1952 because they are able to go up the tributaries and the outlet and spawn naturally. So they've sustained a population for about 60, 70 years here. It's not hard to get a fly out there. The fish are cruising at anywhere from 2 feet off the shore to as far as you want to throw it out there.
Yeah, they're pretty willing.
Yeah, and they are. They're willing.
I just like the novelty of grayling. She's fighting pretty good. Looks like a female. Dorsal isn't as long. Let's throw a tape on her, see what we got. And try and leave these fish in the water as much best you can. Well, almost 13 inches, 12 and a half probably.
There we go. That's a good take. We manage for grayling in a lot of lakes here in the Uintas. The dry fork of the Weber is really known for grayling. There's 3 lakes there, Round, Sand, and Fish Lake, that all have natural reproducing populations of grayling. It's a good little backpack or hike up into there, but you'll be rewarded with a lot of grayling up that drainage. They love black ants. I don't fish anything else for grayling.
That was a good one.
That's a good fish. Is that a brookie?
Sure hit like one.
It's got some beautiful coloration. That wasn't too far off the shore, huh?
That's a nice little brook trout there. The beautiful colors. Those red dots with blue halos. You just can't beat that. So there are quite a few lakes around the Uintas. Some of them are naturally reproducing populations. This one here in Marjorie is. In lakes where they're not naturally reproducing, we do stock them a lot of times by airplane, which is kind of a neat thing. So that way we can provide fishing where there wouldn't be any.
Well, that was fun, and we were only here a couple hours.
A couple hours, we landed about 20 grayling.
At least.
Yeah.
Missed a lot more too.
We did, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think I had 11 or 12 casts and either had a hit or a fish.
Those small mouths, you're gonna get a lot of misses.
Yeah. So Marjorie, we're in a couple miles, but there's a lot of opportunity just right off 150, Highway 150.
Yeah, Highway 150, we have a dozen lakes that we manage actively. We stock them weekly during the summer. Tiger trout, rainbow trout. We even have some grayling in a few of them and some brook trout. So I think we're gonna try to hit those next and see what we can do.
All right, let's do it. We're running out of daylight.
All right.
All right, we'll have more here from the Uintas in a moment, but first, tonight's climate quiz question.
Our next stop, Trial Lake, was the first lake in the area used as a storage reservoir on a trial basis, hence the name Trial Lake. On the west side of Trial Lake sit two historic cabins, both built in the 1920s by two Utah families. Both of these cabins are still owned and maintained by direct descendants of these families. Our climate quiz question is, can you give us the names of these two families? Now, once you know the names, log on to our KSL Outdoors Facebook page, give us the correct answer, and while you're at it, give us a like. We'll then randomly select and announce a winner on our page the following week. The winner set to walk away with a Climate Static V sleeping pad. And our answer to last week's question, which was, what is the statewide limit on Utah tiger muskie waters except for Pineview and Newton, and how long must that fish be in order to keep it? The answer is the statewide limit is 1, and the fish must be 40 inches long. KSL Outdoors, powered by Ford. We'll be right back to the Uintas.
KSL Outdoors is also brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse, Fish Tech Outfitters, Utah State Parks, Burt Brothers, Climate, Intermountain Wind and Solar, the Cabins at Bear River Lodge, Trax Power Sports Rentals, and Camp Chef.
There we go.
Nice work, Penny.
Welcome back to the High Uintas. You know, if a hike into a lake like Marjorie Lake is out of the question, you can still fish one of about a dozen lakes located right off the Mirror Lake Highway.
There we go. That's not a red side.
That's a big one if it is.
It's a little tiger trout.
4 species.
These roadside lakes along the Mirror Lake Highway from Trial in Washington up over the top to Mirror Lake and Pass Lake, we manage actively with these catchable tiger trout. They average about 10 inches when they go in, so this one's a little bit smaller than probably some that have been stocked. We stock 10-inch rainbow trout as well. These fish are stocked about every week or two in these lakes, so there's a lot of fish available for anglers right as they pull off of the road up here. What do you got?
Another little hatchery rainbow.
And then we also have a few lakes with some Arctic Grayling and some brook trout that we stock at 3 inches, and then they grow up and become available once they're at a larger size. But these are immediately available to the anglers with the size that we stock. Put on a black ant again, and there we go, tiger trout. This is a little bit better here. I'm gonna get him in. Nice pretty tiger trout with the black ant hanging out of his mouth. It's probably a 12-inch fish there. I've had some days where I've caught holdover fish up to 17, 18 inches. So those are just that much more of a bonus, but this is a nice tiger trout for you in this. Oh, that's the one. That's the one.
Sweet.
Good tiger trout. There we go. Tape him out. He's a little, I bet you he's 14 and a half.
Yeah, almost 15-inch fish. It seemed to me the effort is really worth it to get away from crowds.
It is. You know, if you do want to take that hour and walk 2 or 3 miles and go to one of those lakes in this Crystal Lake trailhead area, you're going to probably have more solitude and you're going to be able to catch fish that are more willing. These fish have seen a lot. But you know, they are stocked weekly, so there's going to be some new fish to, you know, I had to work hard to get the last few fish, but That kind of makes it rewarding too.
Yeah, I mean, it can be tough. I mean, Chris and I couldn't catch a cold here today.
Yeah! Whoa! That means I'm the only
I'm so excited about that. I was watching him for a second.
Need a nap?
I might. Here we go. We want people to be able to have immediate gratification, be able to take those fish home and harvest them if they want to. So for the people that come up, I definitely encourage them, take a limit home if you feel like it. It's not going to hurt the fishery. It'll be replenished about a week later.
An ant was kind of the go-to fly for us today.
Yeah, so in the Uintas, that's just a general great fly. A caddis is also a good fly, and the Adams, those are 3 solid flies up here.
As we let this fish go, let's head back to Salt Lake for tonight's Fish Tech Fish Report.
Hey, George Summer here with Fish Tech Outfitters. And today we're talking about summertime bass fishing. There's a lot of great programs that are going to work. Top water, chatterbaits, spinner baits, buzz baits. Typically you're going to do those first thing in the morning. Grubs, crawdad imitations, those are all going to be awesome. But the thing I'm going to talk about today is how to wacky rig a Senko. That is by far the best bait going for those picky summertime bass. To wacky rig it, you need a little tool like this, which makes it handy. You know, put that Senko halfway in, roll the O-ring on. You're gonna roll that O-ring right to the end. It's a little bit of a challenge. Roll it right onto the Senko, so it's on the end. And then you're gonna hook your wacky hook right through the O-ring, underneath the O-ring, between the O-ring and the bait, so it's hooked like that. Then this bait's gonna flutter down and you're gonna pull it up. And it's deadly on summertime bass. It's the best way to go, wacky rig Senko. For tips and techniques like these and many others, stop in and see us at Fish Tech Outfitters. And now for tonight's fishing line.
Welcome back to KSL Outdoors. I'm Adam Eakle. Today, we're hanging out with MDF. If you haven't heard of them, that's the Mule Deer Foundation, a national conservation organization that has done habitat work across Utah, all in the name of wildlife. They even fed deer this last winter when the deer struggled with the harsh weather. Today, though, they're bringing water to wildlife.
Today we're on the Timpanogos WMA. We're installing 3 Boss tank guzzlers. This area suffered a lot of habitat loss with urban sprawl, and we're trying to put some water up on the mountain to help these deer transition from their winter range through the fawning grounds onto the summer range. So these tanks are 2,000-gallon Boss tanks. They're a self-collecting water tank system. So as the rain falls, the water's collected into the drinker, and it basically provides water for deer year-round and other wildlife. You'll see all kinds of stuff utilizing it. We've got one down in southern Utah right now that's got 7 bucks, 10 does, and 7 fawns using it. It's just installed a year ago, so we try to do almost all of our projects on wildlife management areas, or WMAs, because they are open to the public. The average hunter can come up here, or recreationist come up and utilize these herds of deer we're creating. So it's great to see these things going in where everybody can come use them.
The total price for the project is $15,000, money that was raised at this year's Western Hunting and Conservation Expo. The DWR chips in labor, and dedicated hunters chip in as well.
It's a lot of physical labor, and that's a great thing with the dedicated hunter program. These guys are good volunteers. They come out and help us on the weekends. It's pretty rocky. It's not topsoil. So it's pretty tough. Got a couple picks going and a bar. So we're digging out some big rocks and 2 teams going, so it's pretty fun. So they're designed to just take them in and set them in a flat spot, and they're domed on the top. And then they collect rain and snow water, and it runs down and collects in a lip and then just fills the tank at a slow rate. So what we do to kind of speed the process up is we bury the tank in the ground 16 to 18 inches. It keeps the water cooler. And then we build a 16 by 32 foot collection apron over the top, and it protects the tank from the sunlight and UV, and it helps fill the tank way faster. I think our lifespan on these could be 50 to 50 years.
Timpanogos is famous for its big deer. It's grown a big herd of elk. Unfortunately, the deer herd has suffered with all of the urban sprawl. We've had the habitat loss, so we're hoping with these types of projects, we put 5 of these guzzlers in last year. This is 3 more. The deer herd will start to grow, and the range will be able to support more deer to provide more opportunity to the public sportsman.
You know, it only takes these volunteers in the DWR about a day to set up these guzzlers, and they say with one good rainstorm, those guzzlers will be full, and it doesn't take long for the wildlife to find them. Hey, more here in a moment, but first, down a different trail in tonight's Utah Field Guide.
We are at Pine View today. We are collecting black crappie.
Nice, yeah, get that.
For Starvation Reservoir and Red Fleet Reservoir in the northeastern region.
In October 2015, Red Fleet Reservoir was treated with rotenone to remove unwanted fertile walleye. For the past 2 years, northeastern region biologists have been stocking 7 species back into Red Fleet, including black crappie.
We got together a couple years back with some anglers and agency personnel, and we all decided that you know, with the reset at Red Fleet Reservoir, and then we didn't do a reset at Starvation, but we have a lot of top predators there. So with both of those, forage is super important for those reservoirs, and so we decided that black crappie and yellow perch were going to be the forage base for both of those.
This is the second round of crappie stocking into Red Fleet. The first batch came from Willard. These will give those that live in the basin 2 new places in the region to chase crappie.
We didn't have any before, and now we've got them in 2 waters. Well, we'll see though how they do in Starvation. You know, we had a completely empty reservoir at Red Fleet, and so it was a lot easier to get them started. There's a lot of hungry fish in Starvation, so we'll see if they actually take. But we'll plan to do this for a couple of years and really try our best.
Well, I don't know about you, but the 100-degree temperatures down in the valley starting to get to me. I think it's time to go hunting, go do a little more fishing in the high country. Let's check that recreation forecast for your next outdoor adventure by turning it over to the guys and gals in the weather department. Very cool, probably a little grayling it feels like. Hey, welcome back to KSL Outdoors, back here in the high Uintas. Don't forget the Youth Waterfowl Fair at Farmington Bay, just over a month away. Time to get the kids excited about chasing ducks and geese.
This year's Utah Youth Waterfowl and Outdoor Festival will be held on Saturday, September 9th from 8 to noon. The festival includes duck calls and decoys for the kids, as well as duck calling instruction, air and mud boat rides, dog demonstrations, climbing wall, archery shoot, raffles, and of course, a lunch provided by our friends at Camp Chef. Register your 15 and under child before September 7th to enter your child into a pre-registration raffle. To find out more on the festival, check out their website at utahwaterfowlfair.com.
It's really not about size up here, but quantity, and you know, obviously the background's beautiful.
Absolutely. Just one of the things we love about the Uinta is the variety, number of fish that you can catch, and then every now and then you get a big one too.
Yeah.
Or even a lake that produces a lot of large fish.
Yeah. You know, hey, right now is a great time, speaking of beautiful fish and beautiful scenery, to submit a snapshot to our contest, because the hunts aren't here and that's when we get inundated. So if you have some nice snapshots, don't forget to send them in. Now your turn with the best of the week, our snapshot of the week.
We kick it off with a birthday fish for James, one he'll never forget. Just as the family was pulling away from shore, James threw a Rapala into the water, only to see his rod bend all the way over. Dad thought his son had his first snag of the day. Imagine his surprise when that snag turned into this 28-inch, 9-pound walleye. While hiking to the summit of Sunset Peak above Alta, Scott and his 2 kids, Lexi and Garrett, noticed some hikers running down the trail telling of a big moose headed this way. Sure enough, the big bull came right down the trail, so the family gained some elevation and captured this cool shot of the trail boss as he ambled by. 1 year ago, James was injured in a motorcycle accident that left him a quadriplegic. But James says that won't stop him from enjoying the things he loves. Here he is on an action track chair fly fishing for the first time since his accident. Way to go, James. The Guest family was up at Smith & Morehouse for a little fishing. This is Judson Guest talking about the fish that got away. A true fisherman in the making. But our winner tonight was scouting for deer and spikes for his upcoming hunts when he stumbled upon a couple of nice bulls. Clint has a deer tag and a spike elk tag for the Tusher Range. He was out scouting when he ran into these 2 velvet antlered bulls. Clint says sometimes it's a pain carrying the camera over his shoulder with all of his other gear in the backcountry, but when you capture scenes like this, it's worth it. Well, Clint, it looks like your pack will be a little bit heavier this fall, as you just won our cool prize for having the Snapshot of the Week. Remember, submit your pictures or video plus an explanation of your latest outdoor adventures online at ksltv.com. The winner each week wins the new Striker multi-fuel backpacking stove that can be fueled by propane or butane. Plus, the winner is also entered into our Ford Trucks quarterly Facebook giveaway for a Camp Chef pellet grill.
Build your outdoor kitchen with Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors.
We stock thousands of fish every week in the trial, and Adam can't get one, but hey, it is what it is.
The kids are getting ready to go back to school, but they're still, I would imagine, until late September to get up here and fish.
Yeah, you know, it's still hot in the valleys, 95 degrees. I don't know if that it topped 70 degrees up here today. Come up and enjoy it. You got another couple months.
Hey, I'm Adam Eakle, KSL Outdoors, reminding you to get out with your family or friends and make one last trip up in the Uintas Outdoors. Until next weekend, good night.